Eldersburg, some light showers up there for you around the Carroll County area. So this is what we're seeing. Edgewood, some light showers for you, but you're on the fringe of getting some of that moderate to heavy rain pushing back in once again. A lot of lightning associated with these storms. These storms are capable of producing strong gusty winds. We've already heard reports of strong winds and hail. We saw the hail with our own eyes falling from our tower cam, just falling down out there. So do be careful. You have to go out and about today. We're expecting this weather pattern to remain active at least for the next few hours. We have a cold front coming through, and if you saw any peak of sun earlier today, that peak is now costing us because it helps to keep the atmosphere unstable. That heat just provides a little bit of energy or so for these storms. So that's one thing that we always have to watch on these days when we get the breaks of the sun. The heat does become some fuel. So these storms are now beginning to cross over to the bay, but it doesn't look like they're losing much punch. They're still packing the punch as they move across the area with lots of lightning and some heavy rain as they move across the region. I want to take another trip around and show you what we're seeing across the area. I want to zoom into a couple neighborhoods, just kind of give you an idea of what's happening in your area. If you're wondering if you have had some wind damage, just call your neighbors who are at home. They'll probably tell you in Howard County the answer is yes. We also have some power outages. We'll show you those once again in just a moment to report to you from Howard County and Baltimore County. So Edgemere getting some really heavy rain right now.
Okay, excuse me, I just had pop on the screen a tornado warning on the eastern shore.
Okay, let's zoom into that.
Let me get some information on that.
All right, John is telling us now about another tornado warning along the eastern shore. And John, you said that things could get a little bit active as they cross the bay, and they certainly have.
All right, this is for Kent, Queen Anne's, and Talbot County.
Let's go to Weather 1. Weather 1, please.
Yeah, Weather 1.
Weather 1?
Tornado warning till 3 o'clock this afternoon. It's covering up that county. So there it is, right where 301 and 50 meet is kind of right in the middle of that area. And again, it's a tornado warning for Kent, Queen Anne's, and Talbot counties until 3 o'clock this afternoon. Severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located near Gibson Island, moving southeast at 35 miles an hour. Tornado and quarter-size hail potential here. Now this is a radar indicated rotation, so we have no reports there of any tornadic activity. This is something that radar indicates is possibly there, seeing rotation up in the clouds. The key is, will that translate down to the ground? Now the eastern shore is kind of flat. There are fewer trees there, so it's possible that somebody, if there's something there, could see that. You get a better shot at seeing that, especially if it's out around Gibson Island and whatnot. So we'll see if we get any reports of that. But again, a tornado warning. This is over on the eastern shore, the other side of the bay, Kent, Queen Anne's, and Talbot counties. On our computer, that is that small red area. Let me circle that just so that you can, this area right there will be in effect until 3 o'clock this afternoon. At 2:31, a storm capable of producing a tornado was located near Gibson Island. And this is a radar indicated rotation, meaning radar has spotted something that could develop into a tornado. And it's possible it could be a tornado, but we haven't had any reports or confirmations of that type of activity. Tom Tasselmeyer has come in to take charge of the entire situation here. He'll be online in just a few minutes or so to keep track of this storm activity as everything starts moving toward the eastern shore at this stage.
Yeah, so that's something that we're definitely watching out for. If you are along the eastern shore, and John has been mentioning, even if it's not been confirmed at this particular time, you want to be cautious. You want to go ahead and take cover at this time. Get to the most interior part of your home. I've been telling people all afternoon, this is not a good day for a motorcycle ride, but it is a good day for a motorcycle helmet. Why? Because that will help to protect your head from the potential for flying debris. So these are things you can do. Some people have gotten underneath a mattress or so, anything to protect you from the strong winds and the debris that tornadoes typically bring. So even if it's not been confirmed, you want to use caution. And if you know people who are caught outside this is what you can tell them if they're caught outside: to crouch down in a low-lying area, cover your head, and try to wait for the storm to move past. You want to stay away from windows. I think that goes without saying. The interior rooms or doorways, as I've been mentioning all afternoon, and you definitely want to get to the lowest level of your building. Not a good day to be at the top of a high-rise with those tornado warnings now moving along the eastern shore. So we'll be watching this for you until it expires. We're still looking for confirmation on that particular warning, but the radar is indicating something, and we don't want to ignore the warning signs. We flag it, we watch it, we track it, and we give you a heads up so that you and your family can remain safe during these particular storms. All right, we have an update now on the power outages. 17,000 people now without power in Howard County because of those strong storms that moved through it. In Baltimore County, the number remains at 2,170. We'll be continuing to watch this as well. Prince George's County, 4,900 people without power there because of the storms. And Carroll County, 1,000 people without power there. We'll continue to track this for you. Do we have any more power outages coming up? We'll track this for you. I suspect those numbers are probably going to go up because these storms still have to get through Anne Arundel County, and we may be adding that. But this is what we're watching right here, a tornado warning. This area right here along the eastern shore in the red boxes is moving over to the east. You can see that it's covering a nice speck of area as it moves over. Radar has indicated that there could be a tornado in this particular area. We haven't had any confirmation of that yet, but when we see that on radar, we do like to take heed and would like to do things that will keep you and your family safe. Everywhere shaded in these yellow, oranges like colors, that represents a severe thunderstorm warning. That's also something that you have to take heed to, because those severe thunderstorms that we've seen today are capable of producing wind gusts up to 58 miles per hour or stronger. That's enough to do a little damage, okay? That's going to blow around some lawn furniture. It's going to snap a few tree branches. Maybe even some weak trees may come tumbling down with that, and it's already sparked some power outages. We've also seen 1-inch hail, the potential for that with some of these storms that are moving into the area. So we're watching that line of storms. They're packing heavy rain that makes it really hard for you to see when you're trying to drive or even look out of the window. And also you have dangerous lightning. Another potential problem will be flooding. We have various flash flood warnings going on around the region that you want to take care of, because when you get that heavy rain moving across, and it's moving across and dumping a lot of rain in a short amount of time, that's when you can get the flash flood, and that can occur within minutes. That's why we call it flash flood. Taking a live look now at US 50. Right now you can see slick streets and people making their way by on the freeway there. It looks like they're getting along just fine, but those streets are certainly rain drenched out there. We'll continue to show you shots around the region of what it looks like. These were fast moving storms. We had some areas that even had a little bit of clearing once those storms passed by, but when they came, they really packed a punch on Howard County. I wouldn't be surprised if that is where we find the bulk of the damage out there. So severe hail has been reported in some spots. Looks like it will be arriving in parts of Riva. Looks like at perhaps 2:45 p.m. Parole. We can see some of that coming through at 2:48. This is the warning for hail, heavy rain. Annapolis, it looks like you'll also see some. And now Tom and John are playing around, not playing around either, I should say. They're looking around. There's no playing around going on here. They're looking for the circulation. They're looking for that red color and that green color to come close together. Those are the winds coming to and away from the radar. They're looking for that to see where that is. So they're looking in this particular area around here to see if there's any more potential for, strong storms or tornadic activity or really strong updrafts that produce the hail out there. So this is what we're looking at right now around the Annapolis area. So this is the area that we're watching very closely, but really all the region we're keeping an eye on, but certain areas are going to be hot spots to get stronger storms going around the region. So we can see some arrows being drawn here to go across the bay. That's where some of these stronger storms are heading to at this particular time. So this is what's happening. We've got active weather around the region. If you are just joining us, we do have a tornado warning along the eastern shore. We're also watching out for other parts of the area that are producing heavy rain, gusty winds, and hail, and we're on the lookout for other areas that could be potentially producing more tornadic-like conditions. So this is the area of the warning. This is the tornado warning, that area that you see in red right there, and the severe thunderstorm warning are all these areas and these orange colors. Live look outside right now. We're looking at, looks like, oh, well, it looks like the picture is shaking just a little bit, but we can see cars making their way over here They were able to zoom by. I wouldn't drive this fast, particularly on a day like this with slick streets, but they're making their way along safely along, what is this, Gantry, the Bay Bridge here? So they're making their way over the Bay Bridge at this particular time. The rain is still dotting our camera. Lots of hazards associated with this flooding. We've had power outages. It's been a very active, severe weather type of day. And we're going to continue to give you updates on those power outages around the region. So we'll continue to watch all of this for you. Let's go ahead, and if we could, can you bring up that video from Howard County once again? If you're just joining us and you haven't seen this from Howard County, you've got to look at this. Ferocious storms moving across the area, punishing winds and really heavy rain making their way across the area. Two viewers sent this in, and we're grateful for them. We hope that they remain safe as they took this video, but it really came down there. And we've received reports of power outages in Howard County, damage from wind. I'm sure a couple of trees snapped and came down with that. Look at how those bushes and trees are just giving way to the really strong winds, and the water just pouring. It looks like just pouring buckets of water out of the sky. The sky has really opened up this afternoon. Can we get an update now on?
Interestingly enough, the Weather Service just sent a note that they have now canceled the severe thunderstorm warning for Howard County.
Okay.
So
Howard County needs a break.
Officially canceled.
Good. Now this is I-70. Look at this. Looks like some trees down there, and looks like some cars are not able to get by here on I-70. This is I-70 west. We do think
probably west of Ellicott City.
West of Ellicott
guessing.
City.
Yeah.
We think the viewer who sent this in looks like Rockhead 21784. Thank you for sending that particular picture in. So trees are down from the damaging winds. We've had some hail reports. These are all things that we're keeping an eye on.
Nice.
There's also been some power outages. We want to take a look at that as well in just a moment to get you caught up on the power outages in Howard County and all of the counties around the region. So we're continuing to watch these storms move across the bay. That's Tom and them not playing around, I should say that. They're tracking some conditions now. Let's go over to Weather 2 if we could, just to show the latest on where the rain is around the entire region. So some of the storms have begun to move over to the east, but we still have a very active weather pattern. And this area right here around Annapolis, this is what Tom and John are trying to decipher right here. This particular storm looks like it's producing some hail. It's a stronger storm, and it's moving over to the east. We also still have some strong storms to the north of us along the eastern shore. Tornado warning in some of those areas hasn't been confirmed, but radar is picking up on something that looks a little bit suspect. So we definitely want to watch that along the eastern shore. And we're seeing some circulation in the storms here just outside of Chestertown. These storms are strong. They're producing heavy rain. They're likely producing some gusty winds, and there could be some hail embedded in there as well. Looks like it's just around the Crumpton area, and it's moving over into Delaware to the south and to the east. So we'll be watching that. This is just to the north of Barclay. Chestertown getting hammered right now with moderate to heavy rain. We're also looking at this storm around Annapolis. It's moving over to the east, about to cross the bay once again, and it's packing some really heavy rain and the potential for hail with this storm that's moving around the Annapolis area. So that's something that we're going to watch very carefully. Odenton still getting some moderate to heavy rain. Laurel getting some heavy rain. Columbia some moderate showers, and thankfully Howard County needs a break. Glen Burnie getting in on some of the lighter rain. Edgemere now some lighter showers. They are moving rather quickly as they move over to the east, but Kennedyville and Chestertown getting that heavy rain along the eastern shore. Let's go a little bit further north. Northern Baltimore County getting a break around Cockeysville and Towson, and then also around parts of Harford and Cecil County. It looks like you guys are getting a break there with only the light to moderate rain, if any at all. Bel Air and Northeast look pretty clear at this particular time. So the hot spot at this hour would be Anne Arundel County and the eastern shore. So looking at a storm around Annapolis that's potentially producing some hail around there, and this is moving over to the east. And I think Chief Meteorologist Tom Tasselmeyer is about to join me now. Tom?
Hey Mary, how are you?
I'm busy.
Yeah, we wanted to highlight over here on John has been playing with Weather 1 here. If we switch it on over to our other computer, Weather 1, I want to show you a strong gust front that's now heading over toward Kent Island. So it's coming off of Anne Arundel County, crossing the bay, and this strong outflow here, the strong winds cutting across Kent Island. I'd be very much on the lookout here, south of the Bay Bridge especially, and down toward Easton and Talbot County. There's going to be some very strong winds coming your way. That is a picture of the wind is what we're looking at here. So we're, I think at one point it was analyzing 70 mile an hour wind. 72 mile an hour wind. So this is from the BWI terminal Doppler radar.
Thank you so much.
And it is picking up on these very strong winds that are crossing the bay now and headed over toward Kent Island, tracking south and east. So a pretty good thunderstorm there approaching you folks there south of the Bay Bridge. Southern part of Queen Anne's County, northern part of Talbot County should be on the low.